Many marriages today end in divorce, and it's become increasingly common. While divorce proceedings can be exhausting for the couple, they often leave an even deeper impact on the children, especially when it comes to custody battles, which can turn into long, emotionally draining fights with the child caught in the middle. One such example came before the Supreme Court, where the custody of an 11-year-old boy was at the center of a deeply contested legal dispute between his biological parents. The Supreme Court has reversed its earlier decision that had granted permanent custody of the child to the father and has now restored custody to the mother after serious concerns were raised about the child's mental health. A bench of Justice Vikram Nath and Justice Prasanna B. Varale allowed the mother's review petition, citing fresh evidence, including psychological reports that showed that the child was suffering from anxiety and emotional distress after being separated from his mother. Now, ordinarily, review petitions before the Supreme Court are only allowed in very limited situations, such as discovery of new and important evidence or a clear error on the face of the record. But in child custody cases, the court said a flexible approach is needed and the child's best interests must come first. This case goes back to a marriage that ended in divorce. The couple was married in 2021 and their son was born in 2012. After separating, they agreed that the mother would have custody and the father would get visitation rights twice a month. The divorce was finalized in 2015. The mother later remarried and had another child. She lived in Thiruvananthapuram with her new husband and both children. In 2019, she contacted the father to get his signature for the child's international travel, which is when he learned about the second marriage and the plan to take the child to Malaysia. Worried about the relocation and a change in the child's religion, the father moved the family court for permanent custody. The mother countered with her own application to take the child abroad. The family court in October 2022 ruled in favor of the mother, granting her permanent custody and allowing international travel during school holidays. The father was given limited visitation rights. Both sides challenged this decision in the Kerala High Court, which in October 2023 ruled in favor of the father. The High Court held that moving the child to Malaysia would not be in his best interest and granted him the custody with visitation rights for the mother. The Supreme Court initially upheld the High Court's order in August last year, but the mother then filed a review petition pointing to new psychological assessments showing that the custody change had caused significant harm to the child's mental health. One report dated September 3rd last year from a clinical psychologist stated that the child was showing signs of anxiety and was at high risk for separation anxiety disorder. More reports followed, confirming his ongoing distress, including fear that he would be taken away from his mother. The court also took note of allegations that the father made threatening remarks to the child after the judgment, which, even if unproven, further worsened the child's condition. The court held that these psychological reports were genuine and new evidence, and that the changes in the child's condition directly impacted his well-being, which was the reason enough to review the earlier decision. It said that the child has lived exclusively with his mother since he was 11 months old. He saw her as his primary caregiver and had formed a family unit with her and her new husband and his younger siblings. Meanwhile, the father, though wanting to reconnect, was someone the child barely knew and had never even spent a night with. So the court has now held that moving the child's custody to the father would destabilize the child and cause further trauma. So it has allowed the review, restored the civil appeals, and set aside the High Court's order. Custody was granted back to the mother as originally ordered by the family court back in 2022, though with some modifications now. Like, the mother will have permanent custody and the father will have both virtual and physical visitation rights. However, she cannot relocate the child abroad except during Onam, Christmas and half of summer vacation, and only with prior notice to the family court and the father. The court also directed that both parents must attend psychological counseling and get a fresh psychological evaluation done by the CMC Vellore by October this year. And finally, the court has advised both parents to communicate better, avoid letting past disputes affect the child, and cautioned the father against making any insensitive remarks. The court made it clear that the child-father relationship must be built slowly, with patience and empathy.